Did you know that more than 60% of people who read or watch horror admit they've had nightmares because of it? That means every second person sitting in the dark with a book or in front of a glowing screen has carried those terrors into their dreams. But here's the question that chills even deeper. What if the scariest stories we tell aren't just inventions of the imagination, but echoes of something real? Horror stories are more than entertainment. They've been with humanity for centuries, whispered by firelight, scribbled in journals, and later projected on silver screens. They frighten us, yet we seek them out willingly. Why? Because deep down, fear fascinates us. It leaves fingerprints on our minds, lingering long after the story is over. Tonight, we'll dive into why horror has such a lasting grip, and uncover a few stories that may leave you sleeping with the lights on. Fear is one of the most primal instincts we have. It's hardwired into our brains, a survival mechanism that kept our ancestors alive. When we hear a bump in the night or feel like we're being watched, our bodies react before our minds can even reason. Horror stories hijack that instinct. They bypass logic, speaking directly to something ancient in us, that primal dread of the unknown. Think about it. Monsters, ghosts, killers. These may be symbols, but the feelings they trigger are real. Goosebumps rising on your skin, a tightening in your chest, the racing of your heartbeat. These physical reactions prove that the brain doesn't always distinguish between imagination and reality. That's why the fear lingers. Psychologists say horror resonates so deeply because it forces us to confront the things we normally avoid. Death, violence, the supernatural, the fragility of life. Horror stories don't just entertain. They remind us that we're vulnerable, that the world is darker and stranger than we'd like to believe. Take the story of the woman in white. Across countless countries and cultures, travelers report seeing the same figure, a pale woman dressed in white, often on lonely roads or near rivers. Sometimes she warns of danger, other times she leads travelers astray. How can the same apparition appear in so many different places? Is it folklore, or something universal haunting humanity? Or imagine this: you're home alone, and in the silence, you hear a child laughing. High-pitched, playful. But when you search the rooms, the house is empty. For many, this is one of the most disturbing paranormal experiences, laughter where no child should be. And then, of course, there's the horror that doesn't need ghosts. True crime stories remind us that real monsters often wear human faces. Serial killers, kidnappers, people driven by twisted impulses. Fiction may invent demons, but history shows us we don't need them, because the worst nightmares often walk beside us in daylight. But perhaps the most terrifying story is that of the silent room. At an old crumbling hotel, guests began complaining of strange sounds at night, muffled voices, scraping, even knocking that seemed to come from within the walls. Investigators eventually discovered a bricked-off chamber hidden behind one of the hallways. When the wall was broken down, there were no bodies, no furniture, just a bare stone room. But the walls were covered, floor to ceiling, with deep scratch marks. Marks made by fingernails, marks of desperation. Whoever had been trapped there had tried to claw their way out. Some say it was a prisoner locked away by the hotel's owner. Others believe it was a place for something far less human. No matter the explanation, the room earned its name, because after the discovery, the voices fell silent. No more knocking, no more whispers, only an empty chamber. And the knowledge that someone, or something, had once been trapped inside. From ghostly apparitions to human horrors and chilling mysteries that defy explanation, these stories remind us that fear is a universal language. Whether imagined or real, horror has the power to cling to us long after the tale ends, a shadow we carry in the dark corners of our mind. Which of these stories unsettled you the most? Tell us in the comments below. And if you crave more Umbra mysteries, like, subscribe, and step into the next tale waiting in the shadows. Good night.